Under the question about how powerful the impact of an unattainable first love can be, I came across my boyfriend's answer. The impact is so strong that I proposed to her younger sister, because I want to protect her in the name of family. I am that younger sister, yet I wasn't as heartbroken as one might expect. That's because the most upvoted answer under this question was written by me. I also have a secret I can't tell. 1. The doorbell rang. At my door is my boyfriend and fiancé, dead drunk. Last week he proposed, and I said yes. At that moment, his eyes were bloodshot and he reeked of alcohol. He looked as if he had been crying, and his brother was helping him inside. Sister-in-law, Suji, just felt that marrying you wasn't easy for him. He got emotional and cried, and then he drank too much because he was happy. All right, thank you for bringing him back. The moment the door closed, Gu Mingshu pulled me into his arms and said, finally, I get to be family with you. After helping him lie down on the sofa, I noticed his phone kept popping up with likes and comments. I used his fingerprint to unlock it. I found that he had answered a question on Jihu. How powerful can the lingering effect of an unattainable first love be? He replied, the damage is too great. I started pursuing her younger sister just so I could have a legitimate reason to see her and still call her big sister. Now her younger sister loves me deeply and treats me gently, but I don't truly love her, or rather, I don't even know if I love her at all. The unattainable dream in my heart can only ever be her older sister. No one can replace her. Proposing to her younger sister was actually a way to protect the older one in the name of family. 2. I remembered the first time I introduced him to her older sister. I hadn't even introduced her sister to him yet, but he smoothly said, hello, big sister. I didn't think much of it at the time. Now I recall her sister's surprise in days, along with Gu Mingshu's meaningful expression. The atmosphere was so intense it was almost unbearable. 3. Actually, my sister Hewen is not my biological sister. She is my stepmother's daughter. She came to my house when I started high school, and she was 1 year ahead of me. My father really liked her, because my stepmother was favored. Hewen took advantage of this to compete with me in every way, even taking away my father's love for me. Whenever we were home, conflicts would break out between us. As we grew up, our relationship improved somewhat. On the surface, we get along harmoniously, but in fact we still secretly vie with each other. Looking at it now, it seems she has completely won against me. I ended up with a man she once rejected, and yet that man remains deeply attached to her, seeing her as the unattainable love of his life. Suddenly I remembered the moment Gu Mingshu posted on his moments after his proposal was accepted. I will become your family and always protect you. My older sister even commented below, congratulating you too. Reading this answer again, I realized it had another meaning. 90% of it was about how he couldn't let go of my sister after their breakup, and how while stalking her, he discovered she had a younger sister, me, so he started pursuing me. So that's how it was. Gu Mingshu, on the sofa, suddenly grabbed my wrist. Sis, don't leave me. I pulled free from him expressionlessly. Gu Mingshu actually didn't know that he wasn't the only one who answered that question. The top voted answer under that question was written by me, with 20,000 upvotes, but back then, I answered it casually and never looked at it again. In fact, I should have woken up from my dream long ago. Gu Mingshu was never him, yet I cannot leave, because I still have unfinished business. For the next day, when Gu Mingshu woke up, I had already made breakfast, but without eating a bite. He rushed to put on his shoes and grab his car keys to leave. I stopped him and said, didn't we say we'd go see wedding dresses this morning? He threw out, it's not too late to go see it this afternoon. I have something to do right now. I didn't need to ask. I knew who had messaged him years ago. My sister got her wish and married into a wealthy family, but her husband treated her poorly. He played around, had violent tendencies, and she loved money and faced too much to drag herself through a divorce. She posted a moment on WeChat this morning. A hangover feels awful. My head is splitting. You didn't need to think twice to know who Gu Mingshu was in such a hurry to care about. 5 in the afternoon, Gu Mingshu called and asked me to come down. When I pulled open the car door, my sister was sitting in the passenger seat. Gu Mingshu said, I happened to run into your sister downstairs, and she said she'd come to give you advice. There was a small, inexplicable cut on his lip. My sister's lips were also very red. Her lipstick faintly smudged in places. She said, that's right, I'll help you choose. I have pretty good taste in this area. I nodded indifferently. Sure, you have plenty of experience. Seeing my unusually calm reaction, she added, I've always had a bit of motion sickness. Sitting in the front makes it a bit more bearable. You don't mind, do you? I hadn't said a word. Gu Mingshu spoke first. what's there to mind, any seat's fine, right, He Xian? Yeah, then my sister suddenly said, oh, by the way, I have some good news, I'm divorced. The car suddenly slammed to a halt, and I lurched forward. Gu Mingshu's voice came out a little hoarse. You got divorced. My sister curled her lips into a smile. Yeah, divorced. It wasn't working out anymore. I wanted a fresh start. Gu Mingshu gave her a long, searching look, the two of them like a scene from a TV drama. I had to break in. What are we waiting for? Why aren't we moving? Tensions were running high in the car the whole way, and we finally arrived at the wedding dress shop with difficulty. I tried on the first wedding dress, and when I came out of the fitting room, Gu Mingshu was still chatting with my sister, not noticing me at all until the salesperson praised me, which made him turn his head and look at me. I looked into his eyes with a smile on my face. Pretty, pretty, very pretty, let's go with this one. I clenched my fists and said, just this one. My sister tossed her hair and said, come on, you're being way too perfunctory. Why not try on some others? But then, out of nowhere, my sister's ex-husband Song Ruijie suddenly barged in. Song Ruijie grabbed his sister's wrist and glared at her furiously. I was drunk last night, and you tricked me into signing the divorce papers. How the hell dare you? His sister quickly hid behind Gu Mingshu. You signed it yourself. Stop pestering me. Gu Mingshu rushed over and punched him twice. You're already divorced, so how dare you keep harassing her? Just stay the hell away, will you? Her brother-in-law was knocked to the ground, but then he crashed into me, and I was wearing high heels. I lost my balance and fell hard on the ground, twisting my foot with a sharp pain. Gu Mingshu grabbed Song Ruijie by the collar and ordered him to get out. When he came in, he rushed straight to his sister's side. Sis, are you okay? The sales assistant helped me up with a complicated expression. Mr. Gu, Missy seems to have twisted her ankle. Only then did he run over to check on me, but the next second, my sister fainted. Without hesitation, he turned to attend to my sister, picked her up, and said, He Xian, I'm taking your sister to the hospital first. Try to manage on your own for now. 7. Okay, you must come back. My foot hurt a bit, but after standing up, it felt manageable, and I could still walk. The sales assistant looked at me with a complicated expression and asked, so Miss He, should we still try on some other wedding dresses? No thanks, maybe another time. Sure enough, Gu Mingshu didn't come to the wedding dress shop all day. He told me to go home and rest first, adding that my sister was very weak and needed to be hospitalized, so he would stay at the hospital to take care of her. 8. In the dead of night, I took off my phone case and pulled out a photo. Zhou Xian, did you see me? Today I wore a wedding dress, but the only answer was the endless night. The next day, I drove alone to the cemetery on the outskirts of town. In front of Zhou Xian's gravestone stood a couple and a little boy. I was a bit surprised. May I ask who you are? The couple became very emotional upon seeing me. Zhou Xian is our benefactor. You must be our benefactor's girlfriend, right? I nodded blankly. Your boyfriend donated his corneas to our son back then. I really don't know how to thank his family. Please take this bank card. My heart trembled. I looked down at the little boy with grape-like eyes, and tears instantly welled up in my eyes. Little one, is your name Gu Mingshu? The little boy nodded. Yes. Big sister, my name is Gu Mingshu. I had it wrong all along. I was looking for the wrong person. The one with Zhou Xian's eyes was never the Gu Mingshu I thought I knew. The couple were still talking, but I couldn't hear anything anymore. I smiled and rubbed the little boy's head. Gu Mingshu, it's nice to meet you. Grow up well. 9. The boy nodded, looked up at me and asked, Sister, what kind of person is that big brother? Him, he's someone really cool and really gentle. He would beat up anyone who bullied me until they ran for their lives. The little boy handed me his umbrella. Don't be sad, sister, I'm giving you this umbrella. That big brother must be protecting you from heaven. I touched his head and said, thank you. I didn't take the bank card. After they left, I slowly crouched down and ran my fingers over the photo on the tombstone. Zion, would you blame me for mistaking you for someone else? The Gu Mingshu I found was not the one I was looking for. He was just an irrelevant person. I was thinking about how to get to know him, but he ended up approaching me first, so we got together. Every time I looked into his eyes, I presented my best self to him, but when he closed his eyes, I couldn't even muster the strength to smile. In that moment, the obsession that had persisted for so long vanished without a trace. Gu Mingshu called me. I hung up without a second thought. The wind howled in my ears, and the rain hung low. The man in the tombstone photo had sharp features, with dark, soft eyelashes resting gently, and eyes filled with tenderness, I took that photo of him, but when I took it, I never imagined it would end up in black and white. On a cold tombstone, I whispered to him, Zhou Xian, when will you wear a suit for me? What if this is all a dream? What if you come back to life when I wake up tomorrow? If you can hear me, please make the rain stop, okay? 10. Just then, the raindrops suddenly grew lighter. The crackling sound on the umbrella gradually faded away. The rain truly stopped. A distant wind blew through my hair. It also dried the tears at the corners of my eyes. So gentle, the strands of hair softly brushed my cheeks, as if he were caressing my face. Don't cry, I'm always here with you. I suddenly remembered the summer when I was 17 that day. I had a fight with my sister. She moved her things into my room without asking and took it over. We started fighting, and my stepmother couldn't pull us apart no matter how hard she tried. When my father came back, without asking what happened, he walked up and slapped me right across the face, snapping my head to the side. Look at your sister's face, you've scratched it all over. I slammed the door and ran off to find Zhou Xian in his tattoo shop. I kept my head down, but he came over and ruffled my hair. Why are your eyes so red? Who did you fight with? No one, I just fell. But he fetched the first aid kit and, with his long, tattooed fingers, gently applied medicine to my wounds. If anyone bullies you, just tell me. I couldn't hold back anymore and threw myself into his arms, crying uncontrollably. I soaked the black thin coat he was wearing. He usually kept a polite distance from me, but that time he didn't push me away. Instead, he gently patted my back. Finally, I fell asleep in his arms. It was the warmest embrace I had felt since my mother left. I hopelessly fell for him, a secret crush. Of course, he looks cool and aloof on the outside, but in reality, he is gentler than anyone I know. 11. On the other side, my sister posted on Moments. Her photo showed a pot of salted pork bone congee and chicken soup on the hospital bed, with the caption, Your presence always puts my mind at ease. Also unintentionally captured in the image was Gu Mingshu's hand. He had stayed with her at the hospital for 2 days. I didn't want to get involved anymore, so I silently went home to pack my things, ready to leave. Just as I was almost done packing, Gu Mingshu returned. In the past, meeting his eyes would always bring a gentle smile to my face, but now I can't even be bothered to lift my head, treat him like he's invisible. Then, Gu Mingshu suddenly took my hand. He Xian, let's talk. Talk about what? Have you booked the wedding dress? None, our wedding. Seeing him hesitate, I finished his sentence for him. Fine, let's not get married. Call it off. My decisive bluntness caught him off guard. Cancel. I didn't say I don't want to get married. I meant, could we postpone it for a week or so? Since you didn't say it, I will. No need to postpone, let's just call off the wedding. Good for you, good for me. After saying that, I walked into the room and dragged out my packed suitcase, ready to leave. He frowned at my luggage. Why are you packing? Stop pretending, I said with a smile. The pull of a first love is indeed strong. I really can understand you. Go find your dear sister. His pupils contracted. Did you see my answer on Jihu? Yeah, I saw it. Well written, but not as good as mine. As if someone had drained his soul. He opened his mouth but no words came out, then lowered his head with a look of shame under my gaze. Sorry, I don't know how to say this. I really can't forget your sister. You know, she was my first love, the first person I truly loved with all my heart. It's just that back then she thought I was too young and immature. Since you already know, I had no interest in listening to his outpouring. I cut him off. Well, now that she's divorced, you can go rekindle your romance with her. I'm all for it. I couldn't be bothered to tell him either. Hewen hadn't rejected him because he was too young, it was because his family had no money. He was luckier than me. At least his unattainable love was still alive. With that, I dragged my suitcase out the door. Gu Mingshu did not chase after me. Just as I had hoped, it would have been troublesome if he had. 12. The sky had already darkened. I pulled my suitcase and walked out of the residential compound's gate. Xiaoxian, come here. My heart jolted violently. I looked up. Zhou Xian was standing under the tree. My nose suddenly stung, and I couldn't help but quicken my pace toward him. Xianji, under the pale streetlight, the man wore a thin black jacket, a half-lit cigarette smoldering between his fingers. Behind him stretched the city's vast neon lights, dazzling and brilliant. He curved his lips into a smile. If I tell you to come over, you come. Aren't you afraid I might kidnap you? I'm not afraid at all. Go ahead. Take me away. Give me your suitcase. But just then a car sped by, and in that instant Zhou Xian's figure vanished without a trace. My smile froze on my lips. I looked around in confusion, searching for him in despair. Zhou Xian. Dead leaves drifted down in the late autumn, but nowhere could his figure be found. It turned out to be just an illusion. I had really thought he came to pick me up. Just then, a car pulled over by the roadside, and out stepped my sister, whom I hadn't seen for a few days. She looked much rosier in the face, seeing me crying. She walked over with a surprised look. "Oh my, you're crying so bitterly. What's wrong? You two are about to get married, and still having a spat. It's not because of me, is it?" I turned away and wiped the corner of my eye. "Don't overthink it. How's your health?" "I'm all better now. Thanks to your fiancé's tender care these past few days. He's been making me all sorts of nutritious meals. Marrying him, you're really in for a good fortune." I nodded. "Yeah, I'll give that fortune to you." Her expression changed. "What do you mean? You know I just got divorced, and you're deliberately provoking me. Don't overthink it. You're the one he truly loves. He's crazy about you. Just get together already. The best thing for me to do right now is to make things clear, so I don't get dragged into their anguished love affair." I waved toward a taxi approaching in the distance. "Seriously, He Xian, you don't have to deliberately mock me," she suddenly said loudly behind me. "I can't believe she calls that mocking, and I don't need you to pass any good luck to me. Understand, all I have to do is stand there, and Gu Mingxu will love me. I don't have to do a thing." I glanced at her indifferently. "Then as your dear sister, let me wish you a happy second marriage in advance." With that, I gave her a slight smile and got into the taxi. Her punch landed on cotton, leaving her speechless and stranded. You, 13. The scenery outside the car window kept rolling backward, light and shadow interweaving. The taxi was playing Jay Chou's anti-clockwise clock. The driver might have noticed my mood and started a conversation. "Miss, they say that if you listen to anti-clockwise clock 1,000 times, you can go back to the past." "Really? Do you believe that?" "Driver, as humans living in this world, we all need to believe in something to find the strength to carry on. Just give it a try, okay? I'll listen to it as soon as I get home." But actually, I had already listened to this song nearly 2,000 times, more than anyone. I want to go back to the past, back to the time and space where Zhou Xian existed, back to my first encounter with him. 13. Back then, after my stepmother moved into my house, I felt like an outsider. After school, I preferred wandering outside rather than going home. That was when I was wandering around and accidentally stumbled into Zhou Xian's tattoo parlor. Tucked away on a quiet street corner, the shop was called Old Harbor. 2 entire walls were lined with bookshelves, filled with thick old books, vintage magazines, picture books, and a few small wooden round tables. At first, I thought it was a small bookstore where you could study, so I found a seat by the window, took out my workbook, and started quietly working on problems. Not long after, a burly man with a bare chest and a chest tattoo came out from the back. I was so startled I jumped to my feet. "Don't be scared, sis. I'm one of the good guys." Seeing my reaction, the big guy covered his chest. "Hey, put your clothes on now that you're done." A clear, magnetic male voice sounded from behind him. The next second, a flying t-shirt landed on the big brother's head. The man who came out from behind was very tall, his broad, straight shoulders draped in a black t-shirt. His expression was cool, yet striking. "Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your business." I immediately gathered my books to make a run for it, but the man blocked my way. "Hey, kid, I think you've got the wrong idea. I won't say anything, you don't need to explain." The man let out a soft laugh. "This is a proper tattoo shop. What were you thinking?" The moment I locked eyes with him, my heartbeat quickened. "All right, I was overthinking it," I said, looking around earnestly. "Perfect timing, boss. Give me a tattoo too, something that makes me look like someone not to be messed with." He looked me up and down with a smirk and said, "Sorry, we don't serve minors." "Fine then, can I at least stay here for a while?" "Suit yourself." Back then, I had little experience dealing with people outside school. Summoning my courage, I said, "My name is He Xian," Xian as in to declare, with the grass radical on top. Nice to meet you, He Chao Xian." He did that on purpose. Only later did I learn his name, Zhou Xian. I also learned that he was 7 years older than me. Not only the owner of the Old Port Tattoo Parlor, but also someone who had held his own art exhibition. And he jokingly called himself a half-hearted artist. Whenever I think back to our first meeting, I can't help but laugh, but after the laughter comes a piercing pain. 14. After parting ways with Gu Mingshu, I didn't go back to my father's big villa. If my father found out, he would definitely nag me about all sorts of things, and I couldn't be bothered to explain the complicated ins and outs of the situation anyway. Hyewon would surely be eager to tell him. After all, she considers her own divorce a disgrace, so she can't wait to spread the news about my cancelled wedding. So she wouldn't be the only one humiliated. I went to my best friend Seongran's house. She was my college roommate and good friend. When we met, Seongran gave me a big hug. Shin, get a good rest tonight. Tomorrow I'll take you out to relax. Let's not think about the sad things, okay? I'm fine. I just feel like these past 2 years were a waste of my time. Turns out I've been looking for the wrong person all along. Exactly. Before Seongran knew why I was with Gu Mingshu, she thought he didn't love me that much, that he was always hot and cold, never considerate as a boyfriend. But I didn't love Gu Mingshu that much either. The one I have always loved is Zhou Xian. I wish he would look at me more with those eyes, that way I would feel like he is still by my side watching over me, and thinking like that would make me feel a little better. Such a madman. 15. The next evening, Seongran took me to her family's bar. Neon lights and wine, shifting shadows and glow, music, voices, and the crisp clinking of glasses all blended together. Zhou Xian wasn't too keen on letting me drink. I always listened to him. In the years after he left, I hardly touched alcohol, but now, I feel like having a drink. That evening, I got a taste of the sweetness of hallucinations. 16. Not long after, someone grabbed my wrist from behind. He Xian, stop drinking. When I turned around, standing there was actually Gu Mingshu. Frowning deeply as he looked at me, my expression turned cold as I pulled my hand back and asked him, "What's it to you, He Xian? I know it hurts you to see those answers I posted on Jihu, but you don't have to come here drowning yourself in alcohol, do you?" The more I listened, the more annoyed I became. I had already run out of patience for the person he was now. Why are you trying to control me? Didn't I step aside for you and the one who's always been in your heart, so don't fucking bother me. His eyes widened in disbelief. I had always spoken to him softly and gently before, let alone cursed. He had never seen me like this, but that gentleness had never been for him. It was just that I wanted Zhou Xian's eyes to see me as gentle, as someone living a good life, and happy. 17. Stop drinking, look at the state of you. Gu Mingshu took the glass from my hand and slammed it onto the table. This isn't like you at all. Seongran squeezed out of the dance floor, standing between me and Gu Mingshu. Just then, Hyewon came over as well. She took Gu Mingshu's arm and said, "Mingshu, why are you so worried? Shin has been hanging out with people from the streets since high school. She can really hold her liquor." I smiled but didn't deny it. "Right." Gu Mingshu sighed. "He Xian, let's go home and talk things out, okay? There's no need to let it get this tense. I'm not going back to that place ever again," I said. "I wish you both happiness," Seongran continued. "Gu Mingshu, isn't your true love already in your arms? Why are you still coming to find Shin? She has already wished you too well and stepped aside. I hope you two stay together forever, have 100 years of happiness, and soon have many children. Didn't you ask me to talk to He Xian?" Her sister cut in. "He just came with me for some fun and, seeing you so down, he thought he'd check on you, that's all. If you don't appreciate it, fine." As she spoke, she tried to read pain on my face, but my eyes showed only indifference. "I don't need anyone's concern," her sister pressed her forehead. "Mingshu, I have a terrible headache. The music here is killing me." Gu Mingshu was so worried at the sight of her that he immediately forgot about me. "My sister is still recovering from an illness. I'll take her home first. We'll talk later." Watching their retreating figures, Seongran said, "Really? He probably thinks you love him so much that you came here to drown your sorrows, and his conscience is bothering him." I patted Seongran on the shoulder. "No big deal. I don't have any real feelings for him anyway. He just mistook me for someone else. Did I ever like him? Not even a tiny bit." Just then, the young girl next to me answered a phone call. She cooed into the phone, "Okay, I got it. I'll be home early. Why are you always so worried about me?" I looked at her and suddenly remembered the break during my junior year. I went to Seongran's family bar for her birthday and ended up getting accidentally drunk. After that, Zhou Xian came to pick me up. He hoisted me into the car, then carried me home, and as if to punish me, pinned me down on the bed and kissed me for a long time. When I woke up the next day, my lips were red and swollen. I asked him what had happened to my mouth. Zhou Xian cruelly tried to fool me. It's from all that drinking. You must have had an allergic reaction. I don't believe you. Don't think I don't know it was you who kissed me, you brute. He laughed. Me, a brute. I punched his chest. But he grabbed both my wrists and pulled me into his arms. A brute. Who told you to drink so much? If I hadn't come to get you, do you know how dangerous it would have been? That's Xiongran's bar. How could it be dangerous? No sooner had I finished speaking than he held my chin with one hand and kissed me again. No more drinking unless I'm by your side. Just then someone bumped into my shoulder, and I jolted awake from the memory. He was gone again. Xiongran asked me worriedly. Xian, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. I was just thinking about something from the past. It's been so long. Don't you think it's time to move on? I clinked glasses with her and said, haha, I moved on a long time ago. Xiongran didn't say anything, just sighed. When she woke up in the middle of the night to drink some water, she clearly saw her best friend crying in her sleep. So, what do you want to eat for your birthday? I'll treat you to a nice meal. I looked down and said, I don't have a birthday. I sprang out of a rock, 18, not long after, my dad called me. Now that he's older, his temper isn't as fiery as before. He sounded quite gentle. Xian, what kind of disagreement have you and Gu Mingxu had? He says you won't answer his calls and even want to cancel the wedding. Weren't you all set to hold it next week? Hewen must have told you, this wedding between Mingxu and me isn't happening, not happening. We've already sent out the invitations and booked the hotel. How can you just call it off like that? Isn't it easy enough? Just replace the bride's name with Yuen's. After all, he only got close to me so he could become part of Yuen's family and protect her under the guise of family. My dad's tone turned a bit angry. Mingxu, what exactly is going on here? I never expected Gu Mingxu to be right next to my dad. Uncle, actually that's not how it is. I originally planned to marry Xian, but we ran into some problems. My sister's voice suddenly cut in. It's my fault. Mingxu is my ex-boyfriend. He never got over me, and I just got divorced. You're utterly outrageous. How could you do this to Xian? Gu Mingxu's voice also grew much firmer. Uncle, I'm really sorry. I can compensate Xian in other ways. I hope you can support us as well. Hearing his words, I let out a sigh of relief. My dad said, do whatever you want. I won't be there when the time comes. Then my sister added, Dad, what about that villa you have in the suburbs? Don't call me Dad. I've never acknowledged you as my daughter. My only daughter has always been Xian. I heard the sound of a cup and saucer hitting the floor. I had just said his temper had improved, and now he was getting irritable again. My dad lost his temper, and it was because of me. Of all things, inappropriately. I felt a little moved. My stepmother had been addicted to gambling for the past couple of years and lost a lot of money. My dad's feelings for her were long gone, let alone the fact that Hewen wasn't even her biological daughter. But then my dad added, that villa, I bought it 4 years ago and put it in Xuan's name. None of you should even think about it. Dad, don't be angry. They're a perfect match. My dad's voice softened a little. Where are you, my daughter? Dad will come to you. No, I'm fine now. Don't worry about me. With that, I hung up. Soon, Gu Mingxu's wedding partner was swapped for my sister Hewen. The gossipy relatives started sending me messages, trying to pry for details, asking what was going on. I replied to all of them. Don't ask, if you must. They are each other's true love. I don't know what my dad said to them afterwards, but they all said they wouldn't attend the wedding. 19 every day. I stayed at Xiongran's place and painted. One day, she came home from work and asked me, have you been in touch with Gu Mingxu? No. Then you don't know. Gu Mingxu has been coming to our family's bar every day, dead drunk. Seems like he's drinking even harder than the last time after he proposed to you. He's probably just overjoyed to be marrying the woman of his dreams. I'm more envious than anything. I'm afraid not. I heard him call out your name. Xiongran went to look at Gu Mingxu's answer on Jihu. She found that yesterday he had updated a passage in that answer. My fiancé saw my reply and called off the wedding, saying she wanted to step aside for her sister. At first, I felt a bit guilty, but that was quickly replaced by excitement and surprise. I could finally be with the sister I had always longed for. But a few days later, I realized, after all these years, my sister-in-law doesn't seem like the person I once knew. The woman I remembered was so understanding, but now she keeps whispering bad things about my fiancé in my ear, and her tone comes across as so bitter and spiteful. Yet the more she criticizes my fiancé, the more it reminds me of just how good my fiancé was to me. What's wrong with me? Shouldn't I be happy about this? Netizens have already torn him to shreds. thank goodness. Your fiancé found out early, so you didn't get a chance to ruin her life. It's like a novel coming to life, so there really are such despicable men, you really can't trust a word they say. What you can't have is always what you want most. So now that you've got your dream girl, she's turned into a grain of rice in the porridge, hasn't she? None of this has anything to do with me. I don't really understand what Gu Mingxu is thinking, and I don't want to bother figuring out all that nonsense. I just hope we don't disturb each other, because I won't give him another glance. But that night, I suddenly got a call from an unfamiliar number. He Xian, it's me, can we meet? Sorry, but I don't think there's any need for us to stay in touch. Gu Mingxu, then can I just talk to you on the phone? The thing is, I'm really conflicted right now. I don't know what's wrong with me. I thought I'd be happy to marry her. Sorry. I'm not an emotional advice blogger. I can't solve your relationship problems. Go find someone else. 20. Back to the old street where the old port used to be. That area has already changed, with many shops I've never seen before popping up around it. I wandered nearby but didn't dare set foot on that street. I was afraid the memories would wash over me like a tide. I took some photos, posted on Moments. The first time I met you here, I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I was 16 that year. Not long after, Gu Mingxu actually commented on that post of mine. How did you know I lived around here in high school? Me, I didn't. Just a coincidence. Then I deleted his contact info. Back when I was seeing Gu Mingxu, I had already graduated from college. I never looked into his distant past, nor was I interested. If I remember correctly, tomorrow is the day of his wedding with my sister, and yet he comes here to comment on my Moments. Talk about having way too much free time. 21. Every intersection leading to the old harbor triggers my memories around the corner. Even the gray, dim street lamp at the intersection still holds fragments of memories with him. I've always had someone come regularly to clean the old harbor, keeping it exactly as it was. In the winter right after he left, I sat on the sofa that he and I bought together, crying night after night, sleeping when I was too exhausted, living in a daze, hoping that when I woke up, it would all have been a nightmare, that he would still hold me in his arms right now, standing at the street corner. I hesitate to step inside. Just then, someone suddenly called my name from behind. He Xian. Gu Mingxu stood behind me, out of breath. I finally found you. I frowned. How did you end up here? I saw your Moments post. I never realized you'd been paying attention to me since high school. During the oath ceremony just now, it finally hit me. The one I love is you. Will you come back with me and get married now? I'll prove my love to you slowly from now on. I laughed. Are you overthinking it just because I'm paying attention to you? I used to live around here too. When you say the first time we met, don't you mean meeting me right here? No, I never loved you. The only reason I stayed with you was because, just then, a burst of hurried footsteps came from behind. The elder sister had her veil askew, her bare feet making her look utterly disheveled. Gu Mingxu, I got divorced for you. Why would you still leave me behind to come find her? Sister, your ex-husband told me just last night how you bragged in front of your friends about dumping me because I was poor, yet I was still completely devoted to you. Only then did I realize you never had any so-called good reasons for leaving me. That's not how it was. You know my ex-husband. Can you really believe anything someone like him says? What he sent was a video, and that's you. The color drained from my sister's face. I crossed my arms coldly, watching the farce unfolding before me. Then Gu Mingxu looked at me and said, He Xian, can you forgive me this once? 22, I said to Gu Mingxu. Tell you what, give me your phone. He immediately took out his phone. Don't worry, I've already deleted that Jihu answer. It doesn't matter that you deleted your answer. I just want you to know that the most upvoted answer under that question was written by me. Go ahead and read it carefully. The one with the most upvotes. Yeah. Gu Mingxu eagerly took the phone and browsed through it, his pupils slowly dilating. You mean I'm the one who received your deceased boyfriend's corneal transplant? You got together with me just so I could fulfill his unfinished wishes as his replacement? That can't be. I was in a car accident, but I never received a corneal transplant. You're joking, right? I'm not joking. It's just that I found out a few days ago. I was looking for the wrong person. That's impossible. You've been so gentle with me. He seemed unwilling to accept the truth and tried to come over and hug me. I dodged. 23, I shook my head. turned around, and walked forward. I unlocked the dusty door to the old port and walked in. Light and dust mingled together, and old photos plastered on the walls came into view. They were photos of me and Zhou Xian. Some were taken just for fun at home, others during trips we took together. He said he didn't like taking pictures, but whenever I suggested a group photo, he would automatically stand in place and put his hand on my shoulder. He even put those photos up on the walls of the old port, let everyone know that I exist. His hand was always on my shoulder, and his gaze always gently fell upon me. Although there were random people behind me, I still found myself staring absent-mindedly at these photos. She was hanging out with this tattoo parlor owner back in high school. The person she loves isn't you at all, Hewen said. You've been played by this woman, Mingshu. Come back and marry me now. Haven't you always been unable to let go of me? Gu Mingshu's eyes were tearing with rage, veins bulged on his forehead as he stared at the photos, muttering, so from beginning to end, it was because of another man, but I only said calmly, you believe me now, don't you? Finish looking and leave. Suddenly Hewen's voice turned shrill. This man calls himself a tattoo artist, but he's really just a disreputable drifter. How is he qualified to be mentioned in the same breath as Gu Mingshu? I walked over. Using every ounce of strength I had, I slapped her left and right, back and forth. Take your filthy mouth and get out. Hewen tried to rush over, but Gu Mingshu stopped her. You leave first. I need to talk to her alone. No wonder you were so good to me, so gentle, but you never let me touch you. It's because of the man in that picture, isn't it? So, did you ever love me? No, I didn't. That's enough. Stop. Xianji hates it most when people make a scene in his shop. Like I wrote in that answer, I never actually planned to get a marriage license with you. I just wanted Zhou Xian to see me in a wedding dress. I really don't care about the rest. I could never actually marry Gu Mingshu anyway. Let's go out. 24. In the end, I drove them all away. The farce had finally come to a close. The surroundings were terrifyingly quiet. Even the ticking of the clock was clearly audible. The words spoken and the things done in this place began playing back vividly before my eyes. Xian, let's get a new sofa. The color of this one is so tacky. Sure. Then what color do you like? Sky blue, a bit tacky. He called it tacky, yet still got me a sky blue sofa, even though the color clashed completely with the original dark-themed decor of the old port. I moved all my luggage and, thinking I'd stay here for a while, a mutual friend of mine and Gu Mingshu's told me that after Gu Mingshu fled the wedding, he didn't go back, but Hewen had invited so many people before the ceremony, which only made more people laugh at her. Hewen's ex-husband even came to make a scene. The scene was extremely chaotic. I don't care about any of those men. None of them can compare to my Zhou Xian in the slightest. 25. The weather is lovely today. I curled up on the sofa. Before I knew it, I had fallen asleep. The curtains billowed with the breeze, while the clock hands ticked on the wall. It was as if time had rewound to that summer years ago. I feel like I've discovered a hidden treasure. No more wandering, just heading to Zhou Xian's old port every day, carrying my homework and workbooks. I lean over a small table in his shop to get my assignments done. I stand out completely against the highly artistic vibe of this place, but I don't care. The people who come here are a mixed bunch. One time when I showed up, a guy teased me. Oh, is this Boss Zhou's little kept woman? She's here every day. The next second, Zhou Xian kicked the guy's stool out from under him. Can't you see the kid's still in her school uniform? It was just a joke. If you talk nonsense one more time, I'll kick you out. I quickly chimed in. Xian, I'll help you kick him out. Zhou Xian laughed and said, good boy. Back then, I was truly happy. Later, when he found out about the fight between Hewen and me, and that my dad had slapped me, Zhou Xian hugged me for the first time and comforted me. Not long after that, Hewen and her bullying high school boyfriend got taught a lesson by some people from the streets, and they couldn't act tough at school at all anymore. She no longer deliberately brought people around to show off and disrupt my studies like before, and I didn't have to yell back at her at home anymore. I have no idea what exactly happened, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out. Zhou Xian must have stood up for me. 26. Then one day, my sister's attitude toward me changed. I had no idea what she was up to. I never expected her to secretly follow me to the old harbor. She deliberately took my arm, acting as if we were very close. Hey, could you ask your friend to tattoo something unique on my inner thigh? I pulled my arm away from her, feeling utterly disgusted inside. He doesn't take minors here. The older sister immediately said, I've been held back a grade, so I'm already 18. Zhou Xian didn't say a word, just coolly lifted his gaze to look at her. For you, it wouldn't matter whether you're an adult or not. The sister wouldn't let it go. I'll pay more, triple the price. That should work, right? Zhou Xian only said 3 words, "Get the hell out." After saying that, he threw her out the door. At that moment, Zhou Xian looked incredibly cool in my eyes. He Wen deliberately said loudly, "Don't think I don't know that you slept with Yi Xian, you're so nice to her." The next second, she was brutally slapped in the face. It was Zhou Xian's own sister who had arrived. My brother isn't comfortable hitting a woman, so I will. His sister knew me too, and although she didn't show up often, she was also very kind to me. He Wen tucked her tail between her legs and slunk away in disgrace. 27. Once I was so exhausted that I fell asleep on the desk while working on problems. When I woke up, Zhou Xian's jacket was draped over me, and the sky had grown dim. He made me a bowl of noodles. His right hand gripped the rim of the bowl, faint veins rising, and the tattoo on his pale, cool skin looked unusually alluring. "It smells so good, thank you, Xianji. Eat your noodles, then head straight home." As I waited for my noodles beside him, he kept drawing in the dim light. I secretly turned my head to sneak a look at his profile. Just looking at him made my heart flutter wildly. After finishing the meal, I asked him, "Can I stay the night at your place?" He narrowed his eyes dangerously. I can pay. After my father hit me that day, he didn't say a word, whether out of guilt or something else. He transferred a lot of money into my account. I hadn't gone downstairs to eat with their family for several days. "Paying won't work either. Am I short on your money?" He mercilessly turned me down. I refused to leave. "Last time I had a fight with my sister, I could stay the night at your place. Why not this time?" "That last time was special circumstances," he said, lifting me up. "You're a young girl, you can't get into the habit of staying overnight at a stranger's house, don't you know that?" In the end, he still took me home. Before leaving, he patted my head and said, "Don't worry, if she bullies you again, come tell me." After I entered the residential area, I noticed he was still downstairs. His tall, slender figure stood in the shadows, the tip of his cigarette glowing on and off, exuding an indescribable loneliness. I secretly took a photo of him. From time to time, I'd pull it out and look at it, smiling like a fool. The reason he was so kind as not to tell my father that I often went to Zhou Xian's place was that she thought Zhou Xian would lead me astray. But Zhou Xian never gave me the chance to go bad. On my 18th birthday in my 3rd year of high school, he gave me 5 years of college entrance exam prep, 3 years of mock exams, totally unromantic. 28 later, because schoolwork got too heavy, I visited his shop less often. After some big exam, I went again. I saw many fashionably dressed girls at the tattoo shop, and suddenly regretted not changing my clothes before coming. It turned out that after a certain influencer reviewed the shop, lots of people flocked there. Some genuinely wanted tattoos. Much of it was also because he was just too cool, standing there in the simplest black t-shirt. You couldn't take your eyes off him. Seeing me, the others said, "This must be Boss Joe's little sister." Never had I hated the word sister as much as I did in that moment. "Where's Xian?" Zhou Xian came out. His hair had grown a bit longer, falling in messy strands over the ends of his handsome brows. He lifted his pale eyelids, shot me a sidelong glance, and curled his lips into a smirk. "Every bit the rogue. Well, who do we have here?" "Yi Xian," he said. "I thought our star student had forgotten all about me. Just came to see how you were doing. Didn't expect you to be living so well." "Yeah," he didn't deny it. I was so angry it made my teeth itch. While in the shop, a few curious girls came over to get friendly with me. "Are you his sister? Could you get me your brother's WeChat? I'll send you 100 red packet if you succeed." Guiltily, I said, "Sorry. No can do. My brother said he won't date before he turns 30. They backed off a bit but still wanted to flirt. In the end, each of them came over with a gloomy expression and said, "Your brother is way too cold." He didn't say a single extra word. I tried to act as if I didn't care. He's usually pretty gentle with me, though. No help for it. "You're different. He already told us. You're his little sister." "I'm not his sister. But when I turned my head, I saw Zhou Xian standing behind me with a faint, knowing smile. Suddenly I couldn't speak anymore. I immediately pretended to work on a problem, scratching the tip of my pen across the paper. My heart was racing in panic. I didn't dare look up. He stopped right beside me. "Hey, why are you writing math formulas on scrap paper while doing your English workbook?" I blustered. "None of your business." 29. Night had fallen, and the old port grew quiet. The wind chime swayed gently, its crisp, lonely ring seeming to strike my heart. The glass turned into a mirror. Not daring to look at him openly, I pretended to gaze at the scenery outside while secretly stealing glances at his reflection. After all the customers had left, I took a deep breath and asked him, Zhou Xian, can I ask you a question? Go ahead, what kind of girls do you like? I haven't really thought about it much, as long as we click, it's fine. Summoning my courage, I stared into his eyes, my face flushed, shamelessly holding his gaze. He raised an eyebrow slightly, looking back at me with a teasing glint, the heat between us burning my ears. Do you think, maybe just a little bit, we click? Zhou Xian immediately let out a helpless, amused laugh. Aren't you just a high schooler? What do you know about love? I do know. Of course I know. Then who was it that went around telling people I wouldn't date until I was 30? It's because I'm afraid of losing you, I said, my voice getting quieter, afraid that someone else might take you away. Don't like me. If you don't focus on your studies, don't come back here anymore. After a long pause, I finally managed to say, you're so old-fashioned. Fine, I won't come, but later, I really will. Sulking, I packed my books into my bag, trying hard to hold back, but my tears still fell against my will. Zhou Xian, rarely flustered, grabbed some tissues and wiped my tears. Please, don't cry. Can we talk about all this after your college entrance exams? 30 with his words. I buried myself in preparing for the exams, feeling motivated. Every single day, as soon as I received the acceptance letter from my dream university, I couldn't wait to go see him. By the time he finished what he was doing, night had already fallen. We had a barbecue on the rooftop of his place. Zhou Xian was celebrating with me, but he still wouldn't let me drink. I insisted, and downed half a can of beer just to muster up my courage. Then I pretended to be drunk and forced a second confession on him. Zhou Xian, if you don't become my boyfriend, I'll get snatched up by some other guy in college. Aren't you afraid? When I leaned in, he stubbed out his cigarette and tilted his head back. Go ahead and try. So, do you want to be with me? Do you like me or not? He took my wrist, and after a moment of dizziness, I found myself sitting on his lap, my heart pounding wildly. Have you thought it through? You're going to college soon. Are you really okay with being thousands of miles away from your boyfriend, barely seeing each other? I had a crush on him for so long. Of course I had thought it through. I don't care, I want you, and only you. He rested his head against my shoulder with a soft laugh, gently pinched my earlobe with his fingertips, and said, your ears are so red, so cute. Embarrassed beyond words, I said, stop saying that. Will you finally say yes? Zhou Xian leaned down, close to me, and kissed my lips. I promise you, that kiss that day, the starlight that night, I could remember them for a lifetime. We took our first photo together, 31, the summer after senior year of high school was the happiest time of my life. We watched the sunset glow over the old port, searched for old movie discs in the little shops nearby, and drove to the coast, where he carried me on his back as we chased the surging waves, the sweetly refreshing watermelon, the ceaseless chirring of cicadas, and his gentle nature completed the most brilliant summer of my life. I had already resigned myself to taking the bus back to City C often to see him after I started college. After all, it was only a 2-hour trip, but once we actually started dating, I realized there was no need for me to go back at all. Zhou Xian would take the initiative to drive to see me. We could meet several times a month, and he never missed the important moments. I loved being in his arms, so warm, so safe. Sometimes during long weekends, or winter and summer breaks, he would even take me to places I wanted to visit. When my friends first saw him, they all said he looked like a player, but several years passed there. Opinion of him changed to that of an exceptionally good man. Once, when I got sick and went to the hospital in the middle of the night, he drove all night to find me there. When he arrived the next day, his eyes were bloodshot, and he stayed by my side without leaving for a moment, holding my hand tightly. That was when my father found out about him and me. At first, seeing the tattoos on his hands and his unique demeanor, my father secretly scolded me, but after Zhou Xian talked to him alone, my father raised no further objections. When he left, even uncharacteristically, he said sorry to me for the slap he had given me during my adolescence without asking any questions. He said he was afraid that my stepmother might target me at home, so that slap was for show, to appease them, and told me not to hold a grudge against him. On the left side of Zhou Xian's chest, there is a tattoo of a beautiful, elegant bow entwined with my English name. Mine is a beautiful, sharp arrow, designed by him personally, symbolizing that I have shot straight into his heart. My Zhou Xian is simply the best, but what I hate the most is this but. If only that but didn't exist. 32, my birthday during senior year of college. It wasn't a weekend, and I still had my internship, but Zhou Xian had driven all the way from City C that morning. After getting dressed and going downstairs, I saw him standing right outside the dorm building on that early winter morning. Zhou Xian was waiting for me downstairs. The campus had seen snow, and the ground was scattered with thin, patchy layers. He wore a black coat, and wrapped around it was the white scarf I had knitted for him, with the character Xin embroidered at the end. When he saw me, his usually indifferent face softened into a gentle smile. He kissed my forehead, he pressed the warm breakfast he had been holding against his chest into my hands and said, "Be good. Don't get distracted during your internship today." He said he would take me out to dinner after my afternoon classes to celebrate my birthday. I was incredibly excited the whole day, full of energy, and from time to time I would slack off and secretly text Zhou Xian. He said to invite all my friends to celebrate with me. He would cover all the expenses, and I could do whatever I wanted, as long as I was happy. Before leaving work, I received a message from Zhou Xian. "I'm going to pick up the cake from the bakery. Wait for me downstairs at your company." But I waited and waited, and he never showed up. Night falls quickly in winter. Street lamps lit up one by one. I breathed warm air into my cupped hands, but he didn't reply to my messages. "Isn't the cake ready yet? Which cake shop are you at? Send me your location, and I'll come find you." There was no reply for a long time. I had no choice but to search for the nearest cake shop and follow the map directions. On the way, I heard passers-by walking in the opposite direction mention that a serious car accident seemed to have happened nearby. A drunk driver ran a red light, lost control, hit a pedestrian on the sidewalk, and then crashed into a cake shop, shattering glass everywhere. I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. After calling him, no one ever answered. By the time I rushed over, the scene was already cordoned off with police tape. I dashed through and saw a white scarf soaked in blood. It was exactly the one I had knitted. The character Xian embroidered on it had become blurry and indistinct. The cake and cream shattered all over the floor, not yet cleaned up. At that moment, my heart felt as though it had been crushed into pieces as well. The world was spinning out of control. Zhou Xian was taken away by the ambulance. I stumbled over to a police officer on the roadside to confirm the hospital, but my vision started to blur. The First People's Hospital. Okay, I'll go right away. In the taxi, just then, my phone rang. It was Zhou Xian calling. My hands were trembling so much that it took me several tries to answer. "Zhou Xian, how are you?" His hoarse, gentle voice drifted slowly from the other end. "The scarf you gave me fell off." On the verge of tears, I said, "It's in my arms. It's right here in my arms. Be good. I'm fine. Don't cry. You'll get a headache if you cry too long. Don't forget to eat breakfast. And Xiaoxian, happy birthday. I'll be at the hospital soon. I need to hear you say it to me in person. What you're saying now doesn't count." But in the end, these 3 sentences became the last words I ever heard him say. The man I love most in this world died on my birthday. Zhou Xian, Zhou Xian, Zhou Xian. No matter how many times I call his name, I never hear any response again. Ever since then, every sound of his voice I hear comes from voice messages in our chat history that I can't bear to delete. I don't know how I got through those days. I only know that every day after you left, my world had no color. I have never hated myself so much. If I had never met him, if I had never started dating him, if he hadn't rushed over to celebrate my birthday, then this accident would never have happened to him, and he wouldn't have died. I no longer want any birthday celebration. I just want him to be safe and sound. 33. The breathtaking encounter of that midsummer, it all ended with a winter funeral. My heart felt as if a piece had been gouged out. The last New Year we spent together, we made wishes by the river. I asked him, "What New Year's wish did you make?" "First, to see you in a wedding dress in my lifetime. That's my New Year's wish this year." Second, Zhou Xian promises to love He Xian for a lifetime. As for the wedding dress, I'll definitely wear it for you someday, don't worry, but I don't think I've ever seen you in a suit. I'd really love to see that too. You're graduating next year, right? How about I wear a suit to see you then, take graduation photos with you, and attend the ceremony with you? Would that be good? Sure, but in the end, I never got to wait for that. And he never got to see it. How I wish all of this were just a dream. Xian Appa, ever since you left, I've never celebrated my birthday again. I hate that day. The cake you ordered for me came with a small envelope, and inside was a card. I've never had the heart to open it. I tried to fool myself into thinking that as long as I didn't open it, you could still wish me a happy birthday, and that you hadn't left yet. As time passed, I opened the envelope. I took out the yellowed card. "Boss lady, happy 22nd birthday. Let me tell you something, I'm planning to settle in City C. I've been looking at storefronts, so you can focus on finding a job here without worry. Zhou Xian loves you. I softly said to the air, I love you too. The wind chime suddenly rang crisp and clear, as if in response. 34. I have blocked all of Gumingshu's contact information, yet he came to find me at Old Harbor, asking if we could both let go of the past and start over. I only said one thing. Fuck your let go of the past. With that, I turned and walked through the door. I would rather be forever trapped in my memories, trapped in the world with Zhou Xian, never to come out. When he tried to follow me, and just then, a strong gust of wind blew the old port door shut with a bang, shutting him out. Autumn had deepened, and a fallen leaf drifted past the window. Slowly, it came to rest beside the last drawer of the back row of bookshelves to keep everything as intact as possible. I rarely moved these cabinets, but looking at the fallen leaf, which seemed like a sign, I pulled open that drawer. Inside lay a small box, and inside that box was a diamond ring. His sister told me that Zhou Shiyuan had originally planned to propose to me the year I graduated. 35. Epilogue. I am a student from the neighborhood. Walking by the old street, I discovered a tattoo parlor called Old Harbor. The owner is a very beautiful woman with the surname he. She is the kind of beautiful, mature older sister I've always wanted to become. She has thick, lustrous long black hair, but her eyes are cool and distant, and she keeps a gentle detachment when dealing with others. On the photo wall hangs a picture of her with a handsome man. I saw her at 18, on the rooftop. Her innocent face carries a shy, youthful smile, her head tilted toward the handsome man beside her, his hand resting on her shoulder. I asked about her. Sis, is that your boyfriend? She touched the ring on her finger and said with a smile, he's my husband, the end.